A healthy spine is so important for the overall well-being and health of our body. And so today I want to show you a really nice and juicy restorative pose which helps us to open the sides of the body, coming into a bit of a lateral flexion of the spine. What you're going to need a bolster, a couple of yoga blocks, and 2 to 3 yoga blankets. Now, if you don't have the yoga props the way that I've set out, if you have a nice firm long pillow, that could work, or you might stack a couple of pillows together so that you can have something that's a little bit more bulky. If you don't have yoga blocks, you might take any objects that's about the same size or height, maybe a couple of textbooks. And then, I have yoga blankets here or Mexican blankets here, but any blankets or even large beach towels or bath towels could also work. So there are 2 ways that I'm going to show you in getting into this pose, and it depends on how you feel in your body today and seeing which option is going to work best for you. In a restorative yoga pose, we're not looking for sensation. We're not looking to come into a deeper stretch. So as you come into the pose, it may also feel like you're not feeling anything at all, and that's completely okay. The intention here is how can you make yourself most comfortable or most likely to relax in this position. The poses in restorative yoga, we hold them for a few minutes at a time. So even if you don't feel anything initially, that as you get settled in the pose, you might start to notice sensations arising. Okay, so come into this pose, option 1, we're going to use your bolster or any object that's around the same size. You're going to place it horizontally across your mat. And then at the other end, you're going to set up with 2 blocks or something that's around the size of blocks. And you can grab one of these blankets, fold it up, and place it on top of the blocks. So here you've created a bit of a pillow setup for yourself. You can also adjust the height. If this is too high, you can bring the blocks down a little bit lower. So stacking them, and then the pillow on top. You're gonna want to create a bit of space between the bolster and your pillow setup so that you have room to place your arm underneath. Then with the other blanket, you're gonna have this close by, and you might want to have something soft between your legs as we come into the pose. So to get into the pose, we're going to sit with our feet back behind us, knees are bent. One side of the hip is against the bolster. You're going to bring this whole side of the body over the bolster and bring that bottom arm through, and you can rest your head on top of this setup here. If it feels a bit too far away, you can draw everything a little bit closer. And then you can bring your blanket in between the legs. The other hand, you can either rest it on top of the bolster. You might rest the arm along the top side of the body. You might bring the arm slightly back, just letting that top shoulder drop open. Or some of us might like to bring the arm all the way overhead and allowing it to rest and just dangle here. If you feel like putting something else underneath your hand for a bit of support, by all means you might roll up a blanket or maybe place another block underneath that top hand. And then so here is your first setup. If at any point that top arm starts to feel a little bit tingly, kind of have that any sharp sensations, you're going to bring that hand down. You can place it anywhere else that we discussed before. So this is option 1. If this doesn't feel good, if the bolster feels it's a little bit too high, we can come to option 2. So for option 2, you're not going to need the bolster. And you likely won't need to use the blocks either. Instead, you may need an extra blanket, so we may want to have 3 blankets. With the first blanket, you can unfold it, and then you see you can fold it a third or a quarter of the way. Just depends on how thick you want your blanket to be. So we're kind of recreating what we did with the bolster, but we're going to bring it right down close to the floor. So maybe something that's fairly flat, or you might want something a little bit more, just not as much as the bolster. So you can either fold it like I did, or if that wasn't enough, you might roll it up and create something like this, sort of like a mini bolster. And you can place it across horizontally. And then at the other end, you can have your blanket so that you can rest your head on top of. And then an extra blanket for between your knees. Coming into the pose is very similar. You're gonna sit onto your hips, knees bent, feet back behind you. And then you're gonna just adjust the roll so that as you come over, it's coming over just underneath the rib cage, if you like. Adjust as you need, and then bring the blanket in between the legs. And again, same options for that top hand. You can rest it on the floor, you can bring it alongside the body, you can drop it back behind you, you can reach it up overhead. And then however you like, you can find and test out the different arm positions until you feel the one you like. You can also play around with the legs. Some people might like to bring the legs a little bit further in front, knees are more bent, or you might want to bring the legs further away from you. You might also play around with one leg straight, maybe the other leg straight. And again, just coming to a place where you're most likely to find comfort and relaxation. And then allow your body to settle in. So you might stay here anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes, or even longer if it feels good. So if you like, feel free to pause the video, take as much time as you need on this side, and then when you're ready, go ahead and switch to the other side, taking as much time as you need for the other side. And then whenever you feel ready, you can use your hands to very gently press you back up to sit. You can remove any props that might be in your way. You might walk the feet a little bit wider apart, knees are bent, hands back behind you. If it feels good, you can allow your knees to gently sway side to side, or any other movements that might help you to reset your body, reset your spine. So hopefully that was helpful. Hope you enjoyed the pose, and I'll connect with you again soon. Take care.